रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा.
We are coming to the a very important personality, a very important and inspiring personality. We have so much to learn from him, and he personifies Dasyam and this mood of service to the Supreme Lord. So we see that Lord actually wants to glorify his devotees. We were going through Bhagavad Gita in the Gita Made Easy course, and we saw that there were a few million people assembled in Kurukshetra, and they all were warriors. And somehow Arjuna became perturbed, compassionate, and he lost his willingness to fight the war. And actually Krishna was upset with him that what is this? You're actually going to commit a very sinful act, because one, I'm with you and this is a war of dharma, and you're not willing to act on the side of dharma and kill all these adharmic people, and you're going to give up your Kshatriya dharma. So it is very wrong. So, and then of course Arjuna surrenders, and then the whole Bhagavad Gita is spoken, and then Arjuna becomes convinced and he fights the war, in which millions of people were killed. Now the point is, did Krishna really want Arjuna to kill all those people in that war of dharma? Could Krishna not kill? Now Krishna, as the Supreme Lord, as Mahavishnu, at every breath uncountable universes enter his bodily pores. So which means uncountable universes are destroyed, including all the living entities in it. So when that at that scale something can be destroyed by the Supreme Lord, so does he need the help of Arjuna just to kill few million people? No. But then Krishna does that so that his pure devotees are glorified. So for ages to come, already 5,000 years are over, and we glorify Arjuna for his prowess and following the instructions of Krishna. So similarly, when Mother Sita was kidnapped, was it not possible for Lord Ram to just shoot an arrow and kill Ravana? It was very easy. It was very possible for Lord Rama to do that. But Lord Rama wanted to glorify his pure devotees. And among all those devotees, the most devoted devotee was Hanuman. He was completely surrendered and devoted to Lord Rama's mission to discover Sita, to deliver his message, and to assist Lord Rama in all possible ways. So that's why we are going to have a little, we'll hear some of the pastimes of Lord Hanuman, and we'll feel so inspired. So in Bhagavad Gita, something which Hanumanji exemplifies, in Bhagavad Gita, in the 41st verse of the 2nd chapter, Krishna talks about Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, or intelligence which is focused intelligence. So a devotee focuses his intelligence on what? On fulfilling the instructions of the spiritual master and Krishna. This is the focus of the devotee. So similarly, that's what we see in Hanuman's case. Hanuman was given instruction, and his life, unimaginable challenges came his way, but his life was focused at how to fulfill Lord Rama's instructions. So this is the Hanuman attitude. As we saw, Prabhupada said the advancement of a devotee is dependent on his attitude. So what is the Hanuman's attitude? What is the Hanuman attitude? It is, if Lord Rama desires, it has to be done. He does not consider whether it is difficult, or it is easy, whether I can do it or I cannot do it. That is not his focus. His focus is, my Lord wants it, I will do it. And how, from where that ability will come? It will come from the power of the Supreme Lord, by his grace, by his blessings. So this is the attitude of Lord Hanuman. This is what we have to learn. That's the kind of faith that we need to generate within ourselves. So I'll take you back into history, and this history is not just a few hundred or few thousand years old. This is millions and millions and millions of years ago. So Mother Sita had been kidnapped, and the search was going on for Mother Sita, and there were a lot of parties of, small groups of Vanar Sena was created. They were sent in different directions to search for Sita. And one such group had been searching for almost 2 months. Actually, Mother Sita had been away, gone, kidnapped for almost 10 months, and nobody knew where she is. And this particular group was searching for almost 2 months. So for 2 months, they could not find any news about Mother Sita. So they were actually despairing. They have been searching for a long time. They were already 1 month behind schedule. They had actually lost their direction, where they were, what they were, where, that they could not understand where they were. They were somewhere on the shores of the Southern Ocean. So that's what they knew. In fact, Vanaras were emaciated, and there were certain vultures which were circling on the top, waiting that these Vanaras will die and we lead them. And Angad was their leader, and Angad was thinking that better. What I'm trying to explain here is that they were so desperate. They could not find Mother Sita. So Angad was thinking, if we go back with this bad news to Sugriv, Sugriv will kill us, right? Because we have failed in our duty. So rather than going back to Sugriv and telling that we could not find, better I'll sit here on the shore of this ocean, I'll fast unto death. This is what Angad was thinking. And then suddenly some other Vanara started saying that there is a cave by Maya Danav. There is a cave. There's a full city there, hidden somewhere. So we'll go there and enjoy. So these kind of things they were talking. When Hanuman heard this, he said, this is not proper. Sugriva is a very kind king. He will understand that we gave it our best. We tried our best. And if we could not find, he will understand. And anyways, death is better than treason. We cannot betray our king. And then he said that if some of you want to go and hide in Maya Danav's cave, in that secretive city, Lakshman will find out. His arrows will go to the deepest hideouts and find. So that is not the way. So he said, the best way, Hanuman was trying to inspire everyone. He was saying that we must all have faith in Lord Ram. We must have faith in the power of his blessings. And then the solution will come. So what we should do, the solution is, because we don't know where to go, what to do, solution is we must remember Lord Ram intensely. This is what Hanumanji told. So anyways, monkeys did not have anything to do. They tried whatever they could. There was nothing else to be done. So they were all sitting on the beach and they were waiting for some miracle to happen. So in the meanwhile, they told Hanuman, see, we have heard that Rama is great, but we really don't know how great he is. So can you explain all his greatness in detail? Anyway, we don't have anything to do. Can you explain that? So Hanumanji started narrating Ramayana, story of Lord Ram from the beginning. So his narration was going on about Ayodhya, about birth of Lord Ram, about how they grew up and the different adventures they had, and then the marriage of Lord Ram, and then the Vanvas of Lord Ram, and then gradually the story came to the point where Mother Sita was kidnapped, and Ravana was flying with Mother Sita over Kishkinda, and then Mother Sita had torn a part of her sari, thrown some of her jewels, tied in the sari on a group of Vanaras there, and then Hanumanji was explaining that how Jatayu was an old vulture. He knew, I am no match for Ravan. I cannot fight with this Ravan. If I will fight, I will surely die. It was as sure as death. And still he defended, still he went and he fought valiantly with Ravan. And when all this discussion was happening, and that's how Hanumanji explained that we must follow his example. We must follow Jatayu's example. Okay, no problem, we may die, but we'll die doing service for Lord Ram. And when this whole conversation was going on, they heard a loud screech. A loud screech came and some water drops fell on them. And they felt that, is it water or is it a tear? And then they saw that there was a huge vulture which was lying on a cliff, and he was lying on the edge of the cliff. The neck was resting on the edge and the head was drooping down, and that vulture was watching them. And this vulture was called, his name was Sampati. His wings were burned, his legs were mangled, and therefore he could neither fly nor could walk, and it was a big struggle for him. He was really struggling for many, many years. So Sampati was watching these Vanaras and he's thinking, okay, I find it difficult to move, and these Vanaras have come, so now my dinner, breakfast, lunch is there. I can eat them. But when Sampati heard about Jatayu, then his tears welled up in his eyes and he started crying. So seeing this, Hanuman went up on that cliff and he opened a conversation. So in that conversation, Sampati told that there was a prophecy. Now imagine, this is all, so amazing. Sampati told that some 80 centuries before, that is 8,000 years before, a great sage whom Sampati was treating as a spiritual master, and this Sampati was treated as a son by that sage. So he told that, see, now I'm going to higher realms, but there will be a time. A group of Vanaras will come, they will be searching for Mother Sita, and Sampati, if you try to help them, you will overcome all your suffering. So when Hanumanji heard this, a whole group of Vanaras warriors came. They took Sampati down to the beach, and there Sampati said that I want to help all of you. And the moment Sampati said this, from his shoulders fresh new wings started coming. They just started sprouting. As you sprout a seed and a plant comes out, that's how the fresh wings started sprouting. His legs gained strength, and then he flapped his wings. He was such a huge vulture. So when he was flapping his wings, the whole dust, the whole sand from the beach started blowing here and there. Vanaras had to cover their head and mouth and face. And then Sampati took off. He flew. And he flew to such a height that such a big vulture was actually visible only as a small speck in the sky. So he flew all the way there, and then he gradually came down. So he came down again. There was a dust storm, and all the Vanaras covered their face. And then Sampati said, I flew up high in the sky, and I have the power to see 100 yojanas. 100 yojanas is around 800 miles. He said, I have the power in my eyes that I can see so far. And what I see is, in the middle of the ocean, there is a very lavish island called Lanka, made by Vishkarma himself. And I can see Sita there. Mother Sita is there and she is crying. And that place is heavily guarded. So one of you should go there, ascertain the exact position of Mother Sita, convey Lord Ram's message, then come back, inform Lord Ram, but do not involve in any misadventure. So then they started thinking what to do, who will go? Then the excitement built up, because they were all desperate. All the Vanaras, they had lost all hope, but now some hope had awakened. So they were thinking, who can go? So, one by one, the Vanaras came forward. One said, oh, I can jump 100 yojanas. Distance was 100. Then the other one said, no, I can jump 20 yojanas. Not enough. Somebody said, I can jump 50. Not enough. Then there was this person called Divivida, who later became demoniac. But here he was fighting in Lord Rama's army. He said, I can jump 70. Not enough. Then there was one Vanar. He said, I can jump 80 yojanas. Sushena, he said that. But that was not enough. So when nobody could jump that much, all of them looked towards their leader, Angad. When Angad saw that everybody is looking at me, he said, I can jump 100 yojanas. And Vanaras were like, yes, yay, okay, some Vanar is there who can do it. Now it's possible, hope is there. But then Angad said, but I may not have strength to come back. So then again, everybody became desperate and desperate. So there was one Jambavan. Jambavan's thinking was thinking that everybody is thinking about their own abilities, but nobody is thinking about others, that what others can do. And then he saw that Hanuman is sitting aloof. And Jambavan then reminded Hanuman, you have received so many blessings from so many devatas. You cannot be touched by death. You have the potency, the same power as Vayu. So he was explaining that how different devatas have blessed you in so many ways. In fact, Hanuman was quiet because he had already analyzed the situation. He was thinking, see, that at the beginning of the expedition, Lord Rama had actually called him. And Lord Rama gave him the ring and he described how Mother Sita looks. So Hanuman understood that actually I am the one who has to go and find out. So, but in the meanwhile, Jambavan is thinking that Hanuman was actually cursed at a previous time. When he was young, he was cursed that he will forget his abilities. So Jambavan is thinking that Hanuman is actually forgotten his abilities and he has to be reminded, and that then he can really, do this service. But Hanuman was internally thinking, see, Lord Rama has given me the ring, he has given me the description of Mother Sita, he has given me his message. So, okay, if somebody will come with me, I will go with them. If nobody can come with me, I will go alone and I will accomplish this task. So, for him, it was no big deal. So, Hanumanji was like that. So, when it was clear that there was nobody else who would come along with Hanuman, then Hanumanji stretched his limbs. He was stretching his limbs and he was chanting, Ram, Ram, Ram. He was loudly chanting, Ram, 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 to his Lord and Master, and his body started to swell with strength. It started to become bigger and bigger with the power of Lord Ram. It became 20 times his size, it became 30 times his size, it became 50 times his original size. In fact, he grew to many hundreds of feet height. And then Hanumanji, because now he had a mission to accomplish, he saw which is the good launch pad for him. He saw Mahindra mountain, which was at a great distance. But Hanumanji ran towards that Mahindra mountain. Just in 3 steps, he reached the summit. And there he saw towards the southern direction and he announced, Jai Shri Ram, I am the son of Vayu. I can touch the sun during the noon. I can dry up the oceans. I can pulverize the mountains. There's nothing that can stop me from achieving my Lord's mission. He said, today itself I will find Mother Sita. I will give her the ring and I will deliver the message of my Lord Ram. If I am not able to find Mother Sita, I will uproot Lanka and I will bring it back so that all of us can search for Mother Sita. And if I can find her, I will crush Ravan under my thumb and I will carry Sita back. So this is how Hanumanji was determined. He looked southwards. He prepared for the big leap. He gathered all his energy in his legs and his ankles and he put immense pressure on the hill. His tail coiled and then it slapped the mountain top. And because of that pressure, all the gold, silver and other minerals started flowing out as streams. And with that strike of the tail, Hanumanji went off as a meteor which is passing through the heavens. So like that, Hanumanji went. And here, because of this great jump of Hanumanji, such a pressure was created, so much vacuum was there, that all the plants and the animals and the leaves and the flowers, they were all sucked into that. So that's how he shot through the sky. So we have a very wonderful life lesson which I would like draw your attention to. Hanuman's outlook. There is Sita and Rama wants her. Nothing could discourage him. The vastness of the ocean or the power of Ravana. Nothing could be discouraging to him. This was the mission impossible indeed. Now, mind you, when we calculate 100 yojanas, which is around 800 miles, it is the distance from Chennai, more distance from Chennai to Mumbai. We are sitting here from Chennai to Mumbai, it is more distance than that. So that was the gap which Hanumanji had to cover. So for him, nothing was impossible because Lord Rama's instruction was there. And what else? Another amazing thing. Actually, these Vanaras had seen Hanumanji from such young age. And they saw Rama as a very, all the Vanaras saw Hanumanji as a very simple person, a very simple life. He was never displaying all his greatness, which they could see now, his size, his jump, everything. So that shows that how Hanuman's humility dazzled beyond all his abilities, beyond all of his other abilities. So that we see that how humble Hanumanji was. He was so great and yet he was so humble. So we'll move on. So he was flying. Actually, he was not flying. He was jumping over the ocean. And when he was jumping, Varuna, the water devata, he saw that, oh, this beautiful, amazing personality is going through, is flying over, and because this wonderful devotee is serving my Lord, I must also render some service. So he was thinking what to do, what to do, what to do. So then he saw, if somebody goes on a journey, they need some rest. Then Varuna said, yes, I can arrange for some rest. So he asked, there was a mountain called Mainaka. The beauty of Mainaka mountain was that it will give very, very sound sleep. So anybody who steps on Mainaka, he will feel so relaxed and he can sleep for many days. So that was the beauty of Mainaka mountain. So he told Mainaka mountain that you rise up from the ocean and you present yourself to Hanuman so that on this journey he can step down, take some rest and continue on his journey. So this is a very good offer. But when Hanumanji saw this, what did Hanumanji think? Did he think, yeah, okay, now I have jumped so far, let me now take some rest? Hanuman was very, very determined. He said, I'm on a mission. Mother Sita is in difficulty and Lord Rama is so worried and he's waiting for news of Mother Sita. There is no time to rest. But he still reciprocated with Mainaka. He touched him and he sped away from there. He flew away from there. So we see that how Hanumanji was completely selfless. He prioritized Lord's interest over his own interest. Absolute focus on his duty. So we have a very nice life lesson here. A moment not spent in the duty of Lord is in reality a neglect of that privilege. Devotional service is a privilege. It's a matter of great honor that we are able to render some humble service to the Supreme Lord. It is my duty to do that. And if there is a moment where I'm not serving the Supreme Lord, then it is a neglect of that privilege. So we'll move on. So Hanumanji was moving on. He touched Mainaka mountain. He moved on and then he saw a huge demoness, a huge Rakshasi. And then Hanuman was thinking, what's that? And then, so this Rakshasi name was Surasa. Surasa said, I have the benediction from Brahma. Anybody who comes this way will be my food. I will eat. This is the benediction by Brahma. You cannot escape. So you come, I will devour you. So this is what Surasa said. And just see the beauty and humility of Hanumanji. Hanumanji said, Surasa, I have an important service for Lord Ram. I have to deliver this message to Mother Sita. Once I come back from Lanka, I will present myself to you as your meal. Then you devour me. But at this time, please let me go. Surasa became mad with anger. And she tried to devour. So Hanumanji became 10 times his size. Surasa became 20. Then Hanumanji became 30 times his size. Surasa became 40. Then Hanumanji further expanded. Surasa became 100 times his size. And then Hanumanji understood that this is not the way. So he suddenly shrunk himself to the size of a thumb. He went into her mouth, into her throat and came out. All within an eye blink like this, which we don't even see. The blinking of her eye. Within that moment, Hanumanji did this. And then he came and told Surasa, I have fulfilled Brahma's boon. Now I seek your permission to allow me to continue with my service to Lord Ram. So Surasa became very pleased with Hanumanji and he said, Devatas had sent me to test you. And I bless you and I wish you all the luck to find Mother Sita. So Hanumanji from there moved further, and there are a couple of important life lessons here which I want to draw your attention to. Once sincerity and determination catches Lord's attention, and then Lord provides intelligence to overcome any type of obstacle. So here we see that how Hanumanji was inspired and he did such an intelligent thing. He actually used his intelligence and overcome this big obstacle in front of him. And the second life lesson, Hanumanji took a humble approach, reduced not just his size but also his ego. Right? So what is for us to take home? What is our take home? that if our goal is focused, that if my goal of life is to serve Krishna, then my ego is not important, that service is important. And then whether even if I have to bend down, I will, for the sake of the service. So Hanumanji was going further and he was moving in the airways. Interestingly, there are many air levels and there are different personalities who can fly at different levels. And the highest level on which somebody can move in the airways is Lord Shiva. And Hanumanji was flying at that bracket in the higher atmosphere. So that's where he was flying. And as he was gliding over the ocean, the shadow appeared to be even bigger than Hanumanji, which was falling on the ocean. And suddenly, Hanuman was stuck. He just couldn't move. He was there up in the sky, he just couldn't move. He could not go forward, he could not go backward, he could not go sidewards, he could not even go down. He was just stuck there. And then he was very surprised what's happening. And then suddenly he started to, there was a free fall. He started falling freely with the gravitational pull. He was just falling from that great height. Because Hanuman was focused on serving Lord Ram, he was prepared to face anything that comes his way. So when he saw that he's falling down and he has to invariably get into the ocean, so what he did was he pointed his arm over his heads, he put one hand over the other and he prepared to hit the water. He prepared for his dive. So as he was coming down to the ocean surface, just a mile above, he saw suddenly one fleshy gaping mouth came out of the ocean, ready to swallow Hanuman. So, and there was a big roar from that mouth, and that Hanuman recognized, oh, this is Simika. And who's Simika? She is a shadow grabber or Chaya Grahi. So she had that special ability to catch hold of the shadow, and the shadow is held. The person is not able to move. So that is a special power she had. So imagine at what speed, continuously accelerating, what speed Hanumanji was falling at. Can we imagine? And there was just 1 mile gap between him and the mouth, and Hanuman was thinking what to do. So he immediately started reducing in size, and he increased his pace, and he got into Simhika's mouth even before Simhika could realize, right? And he had reduced his size, and when he went into the mouth, he went to the body of Simhika, into his intestines, and because he'd become so small, Hanuman, with his nails, he started gnawing at the different organs and severing them and damaging them. And then her heart was smashed and her intestines were smashed, and finally he broke open the belly of Simika. And that's how, before even Simika knew what happened, she died. And then Hanumanji further continued his journey. So his journey of 100 yojanas completed, and Hanumanji reached Lanka. So Hanumanji reached Lanka. That was only the beginning of the second phase. And then, of course, we have time. We were thinking that once we can have Ramayana Katha during Dashera time, we can discuss. So there was Yamraj and there was Shani, whom Hanumanji made free. They were all captives of Ravan. And Hanuman saw the beautiful city of Lanka. And he was thinking, this city is more opulent than Indra's Amravati. He was saying this is even more opulent than Ayodhya. And you know what Hanuman was thinking? It is appearing more opulent than Ayodhya. It should belong to Lord Ram. So this is what he was thinking. And of course, his Kishkinda, from where Hanuman had come, that was just a bunch of sticks and stones compared to what Lanka was. So he was thinking, Ravan has captured even and tortured even the Devatas. Then, me untrained Vanara, how I have to find Sita? So he was thinking like this. So then he said, see, once let me enter the city, let me search and find Sita. So better I will wait for sunset. When it is dark, then it is easier for me to enter. And then he was thinking, what form to take? Should I take the form of Ravan and enter? But then he's thinking, if I take form of Ravan, so many people on the street will come and meet me. So that will become very difficult for me to go anywhere. Or should I take the form of Rakshasa? He was thinking, but if I take the form of Rakshas, yes, nobody will mind, but then I can take the form, but not their smell. So all the Rakshasas have some gandh or smell coming from their bodies that I cannot duplicate. So that also I cannot do. So what about Vanara form? But Vanara, they will feel threatened. So that they will arouse suspicion. So I cannot do that. So then finally Hanumanji decided, I will take the form of a small cat-sized monkey. Not cat, a monkey size of a small cat. So that's what he decides. So that will not be very threatening. And then he approached the northern gate. He waited for the sun to get down. The moonshine was up and he approached northern gate. And the gates were open and he thought now he's about to enter. And suddenly right on his face, the whole door got slammed. And a trident came and just went to the ground in front of him. So Hanumanji went back and there was this huge demoness called Lankini. And he said, without my sanction and Ravana's will, nobody can enter Lanka. Who are you? For what you have come? So Hanumanji said, hey, see, I am very curious. I've heard Lanka is a very beautiful, wonderful city. There are so many trees and I've heard there are very succulent mangoes. So I thought I'll come here and taste those mangoes. So Lankini said, nothing doing. I'll give you the fruits here. You cannot enter. So Hanumanji was thinking, these Rakshasas cannot understand the language of request. So let me threaten her. Now can you imagine, taking a small form of a cat-like monkey and there is this huge Rakshasi and he was threatening. So Hanumanji said, that small Vanara said, you allow me peacefully, I will not create any disturbance. Otherwise, I'll enter by force and then no one can stop me what I want to do. So hearing this, Lankini became so angry and he showed him this small, monkey, showed him. The monkey went off a far distance, came back, and then Hanumanji made one punch and punched Lankini in the jaw. Lankini, with that one single punch, the huge demoness fell down. It took some time for her to recover. And then she told Hanuman, he said, please don't hit me. I'm a woman. And she said, then she explained that how she was a god in the previous life. She was cursed and that's how she came in association with Ravan. And I have been told that the day when a Vanar will come and punch you in your jaw, then you will get delivered from this curse. And all these Rakshasas will die and Lanka will be destroyed. So Sita has become the cause of Lanka's fall. So Hanuman became very happy. Why? Because he got an evidence that Mother Sita is in Lanka. So that's how Lankini immediately went away. The door, northern gate was far open for him. He went in. And when he went into Lanka, he saw there was so much music. Lanka had an amazing nightlife. There's so much music, so many women with so much jewelry, the sound, and these Rakshasas singing in their houses, all that such amazing nightlife they had. And he was just walking through it. And then he went to a place where the armies were getting prepared. And there were also secret places where there's some Vedic homas going on to, so that Ravana can continue to protect his powers. And finally, he saw that on the top of a huge mountain is where Ravana palace existed. So he went there. Outside, he saw the Pushpak Viman. There's an amazing description of Pushpak Viman. And finally, he sneaked into the inner chambers and into a huge chamber where there's so many women, all of them drunk, half of them sleep, half of them going to sleep. And then he saw a huge muscular man lying on the bed where 4 women were, fanning him. And then he realized, oh, that is Ravan. Because why Hanumanji was doing this? He was searching for Mother Sita. So he remembered the description of Lord Ram and he was looking at every woman and thinking, is this Mother Sita? Is this Mother Sita? And then he saw that there's another lady sleeping in another bed and she appeared to be a celestial woman. But then he looked and he thought, is this Mother Sita? And he said, no, this is not possible. This could not be Mother Sita. So from there, he went to a place called Ashok Vatika. So we've heard Ashok Vatika. Actually, the word comes, Ashok means a place where there is no lamentation, where there is no shoka. That is called Ashok Vatika. So there Hanumanji is on the tree of Ashok, one of the Ashoka tree, and he's very desperate. By this time, he had actually screened 12,000 women with the description, and he could not locate Mother Sita. He was very desperate. He was thinking what to do. Then he made a special prayer to find a lost object. So he recited that verse, he spoke that verse, and then after that he saw a beautiful golden tree, and he went to that tree. That was the Shimshupa tree. So he went to that tree, and there, when he climbed the tree, he heard somebody crying. And when he saw somebody's crying, who's crying? And he saw that there is a lady below the tree who's crying. And when he saw, then that vision matched with the vision of the woman he saw flying in the aircraft of Ravan when he had kidnapped Sita. So it is the same woman I saw on that aircraft. Same woman is here. So that thing matched. Then he saw that actually this lady was so effulgent. She was suffering, but she appeared like the mother of the universe. She was more beautiful than Rati, the goddess of love. She was tolerant, more tolerant than the earth, but she was sorrow personified. So like that, he was seeing like a warrior who has a wound, deep wound, which has healed, but inside the wound there is a sharpnel. The arrow piece is there, which is constantly giving so much pain. So this is how the situation of this woman was. So then he saw that the cloth which this lady was wearing, the color and the texture was same of the cloth in which they received the bundle of the jewels. So that was another evidence. And then he saw that this lady was not wearing any jewels, but there are certain pieces of jewels which was strewn on the tree. So when he saw that, he compared those jewels, then he realized, yes, it's the same jewel, it's the same set from the same set which he saw earlier. So like that, he had concluded this is Mother Sita. So he came closer, and in fact, when he recognized this is Mother Sita, his whole body started trembling. He had a beautiful smile. Hanumanji had a beautiful smile because of her first darshan of Mother Sita. So when he came closer, he saw that the facial features matched with Rama. And but when he saw Mother Sita, he understood that the dedication of Mother Sita is way beyond what his dedication is to Lord Ram. So that's how Mother Sita became his teacher in love and devotion to Lord Ram. And then he came a little closer and he saw that Mother Sita's lips were moving. And what was she doing? Oh, she was constantly chanting Ram, 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 Ram. This is what she was doing. So this is how Hanumanji confirmed that this is actually Mother Sita. This was the end of his search. And so we are running very tight on time. I hope that we can continue for a little longer. So suddenly Ravan appeared, because by the time early morning was there, Ravan appeared, and Ravan came with huge entourage. He came to Mother Sita and he said, all these luxuries of Lanka are at your disposal. In fact, all these women I will trade off if you just smiled. So I have come here. Why don't you come with me? This is what Ravan said. Mother Sita threw a blade of grass and he said, I have left Ayodhya to be with Lord Ram. So Ayodhya is to me less than a blade of grass. What to talk about Lanka? And then there was a huge long conversation between Ravan and Sita. So Hanuman was thinking that Ravan is so stupid. He is trying to tempt to attract goddess of wealth with wealth. Mother Sita is Mahalakshmi. She is the goddess of wealth, and Ravan is trying to lure her with wealth. In fact, without her gaze, Ravan would not have got so much of wealth. And now he is destined to lose all of it. So when this happened, when Mother Sita once again rejected Ravan, Ravan became very angry and he told all the Rakshasis there, you increase your torture. So all the Rakshasis there, they started deciding, okay, so we will have Sita for our breakfast. I will eat this part of her body. I will eat that part of her body. All that they were discussing. And that was the time when the in charge of Ashoka Vatika, Trijita, she was sleeping actually all the while. And she got up and she said, wait, wait, wait. I had a vision. And I saw Lord Ram, I saw Ram, Lakshman, Sita. They boarded Pushpak Viman and they were proceeding towards north. And I also saw Ravan, Kumbhakaran and Indrajit. And they were all proceeding southwards. Which means Ram, Lakshman, Sita, they will victorious and they will go back to Ayodhya. And Ravan, Kumbhakaran and Indrajit will be dying soon. And she also saw Vibhishan in white robes. And she also saw that whole Lanka will be in ruins and will be burning, and a Vanar will come and put fire to the whole of Lanka. And then Trijita said, see, can you see that Mother Sita's left hand is trembling and Mother Sita's left thigh is trembling? And that means Rama is very near to Sita in some form. That we can understand. So all the Rakshas lost all interest in Sita. They went back, they started drinking liquor and they all dozed off. And that's the time when Hanumanji announced his arrival to Mother Sita. So what to do? Because Ravan was a very Mayavi Rakshas and he was trying to fool Mother Sita in many ways. So Mother Sita was very, very cautious and very suspicious of anything and everything. So Hanumanji was considering all that. So he decided that I will sing the glories of Lord Ram. I will sing the glories of Ayodhya. I will sing the glories of Dashrath. And he started using the language Avadhi. So he started singing in Avadhi language, the dialect spoken in Ayodhya, which nobody knew in whole of Lanka. Ravana did not know and whole of Lanka also did not know. So he did not speak in Sanskrit because Ravana was very expert in Sanskrit. So this is how much thought Hanumanji had put. So Hanuman started explaining about his father-in-law, about Dashrath. He explained the entire Ramayana. And then Mother Sita wanted to hear more and more. It was such nectar to her ears after 10 long months. It was so difficult for her. So that's the time when Hanumanji jumped down. He jumped down and in fact, he took a size smaller. He reduced his size, reduced till the time when he came to the size of Mother Sita's ankle. So the ankle height, that's a small size he took, and he folded his hands above his head and then he offered his salutations to Mother Sita. But Mother Sita had a doubt. What if you are Ravan? So she said, why don't you describe Ram? So Hanumanji said, yes, I can describe Ram. Ram is radiant like sun, refreshing like moon. He is a divine emerald green body with golden tinge. He is beautiful, long, lotus petal-like eyes. His red lips are like that of Bimba fruit. He has a broad chest. The power of Lord Vishnu, his personification of Dharma. His greatness and qualities are infinite, but what to do? I am very small and finite. And from my limitations, I cannot glorify the unlimited qualities of Lord Ram. So Mother Sita was so ecstatic, so happy, and she asked about what about Ram and Lakshman? Tell me more. So Hanumanji described that how they are one soul, although living in two bodies. They appear very similar in their qualities and appearance. One is gold tinted emerald green, other one, Lakshmanji, is like molten gold. And Lakshman, throughout this period of suffering of Lord Ram, he stood as a rock next to Lord Ram. And then Hanumanji explained in great detail that how Rama was constantly suffering on last these so many months in the separation of Mother Sita. And finally, Hanumanji offered that ring which Ram had given. So that ring was a golden ring. It had a ruby, and in that ruby, Rama, the word was embossed in it. And this was the ring which Mother Sita was wearing from her marriage. And once they were crossing the Saryu river, and Hanuman and Lord Ram wanted to gift something to the boatman. He did not have anything, and that's the time when Mother Sita had removed this ring, given to Lord Ram to give it to the boatman. Somehow the boatman did not agree to take it. He did not want any remuneration for his service, and he returned the ring back to Lord Ram. Still, Lord Ram did not return this ring to Mother Sita, and he himself kept this ring. So now, for after so many years, Mother Sita received this ring. It was like Lord Ram herself. So Mother Sita said, Ravana told 1 year, after 1 year, he will wait for 1 year. If 1 year I will not succumb to him, he will eat me. So now only 2 months are left. But then Mother Sita said, I will not wait for 2 months. I will wait for only 1 more month. 1 more month is the time where Lord Ram has to come and get me. So now we will skip forward and we will come to this wonderful slide. So after the whole Lanka was burnt, we will hear more details when the Shara time will come. We will hear all Ram Leela. We will discuss this episode in great detail. So when the whole Lanka was burning, Hanumanji reached the city gate and he turned around and he told the people staying in Lanka, he said, I am just the insignificant messenger of Ram. I am just giving you one tiny taste of what you are in store for when Supreme Lord Ramchandra comes himself in near future. So when a small insignificant servant can do all this, burn whole Lanka, imagine when Lord Ram will come, what will happen. So with that, Lord Hanuman, he went off from Lanka, he reached the other side, and then all the monkeys, Vanaras, became very happy, and finally they all went together to Lord Ram, and then the news was given to Lord Ram that Mother Sita has been identified and she has given a deadline of 1 month, so come and rescue. So one amazing thing in the whole episode, we saw that that Hanumanji was focused on the instructions of Lord Ram, and all the other Vanaras were very happy that one of our Vanaras, that Hanuman has been able to do this great service. None of them was envious. Hey, why Hanuman could do and I could not do. None of them had that feeling. And when Lord Ram, hearing of this great service by Hanuman, embraced Hanuman, all the Vanaras were extremely happy and delighted.
Ramachandra Raghuveera, Ramachandra Rana Dhira, Ramachandra Raghuveera, Ramachandra Rana Dhira, Ramachandra Raghuveera, Ramachandra Rana Dhira, Ramachandra Mama Bandhu, Ramachandra Daya Sindhu, Ramachandra Mama Bandhu, Ramachandra Daya Sindhu, Ramachandra Mama Bandhu, Ramachandra Daya Sindhu, Ramachandra Raghunatha, Ramachandra Jagannatha, Ramachandra Raghunatha, Ramachandra Jagannatha, Ramachandra Raghunatha, Ramachandra Jagannatha, Ramachandra Raghuveera, Ramachandra Ranadhira, Ramachandra Raghuveera, Ramachandra Ranadhira, Ramachandra Mama Bandhu, Ramachandra Daya Sindhu, Ramachandra Mama Bandhu, Ramachandra Daya Sindhu, Ramachandra Mama Bandhu, Ramachandra Daya Sindhu, Rama 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 Sita Rama 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 Sita Rama Rama Ram Sita Rama Rama Ram Sita Rama Rama Ram.